Last Sewist Standing, for those who may be new to this podcast, is the No Buy Sewing Supplies Challenge created by Lise Bauer. The challenge is in its 5th year and 2025 is my second time participating. It's time for a catch up with Lisa, and to answer the question that no one is asking, are Lisa and myself still in the running? So stick around a few minutes and we'll spill the tea. Welcome to Check Your Thread, the podcast that will help you sew more sustainably. My name's Zoe and I'm obsessed with sewing. I've been blogging about it for over 17 years and I'm the creator and host of the popular handmade wardrobe challenge, Me Made May. But, like many people, I've become increasingly concerned about the climate and ecological crises, and I'm looking at the way that my lifestyle contributes to them. So in this podcast, I'll be nerding out about making clothes whilst exploring how to minimise the negative impact that it may have. And I really hope you join me in this journey. Hi lovely one, are you doing okay? Thanks for listening to this episode. It's going to be a lot of fun. The kind of episode that feels like you're sitting with a couple of pals, one of which is hilarious. Not me. So, if you like those kinds of episodes, you've hit play on the right one. Right, so I have a pretty big announcement for the top of the show today. So, patrons of the podcast and subscribers to the Check Your Thread newsletter already know this, but it's time to come clean to everyone else. In short, I've started a second podcast. It's called Can I Dig It? Food Growing for Busy People. It's been in the works for about a year and now it is finally out. It's a roughly fortnightly podcast that makes growing your own food simple, fun and totally doable even if you've got a busy schedule. The podcast breaks gardening down into the absolute essentials. No waffle, no overwhelm, just practical steps so you can squeeze into your real life without forgetting to enjoy ourselves along the way. If you're interested in growing food, no matter how big or small your growing space, please find Can I Dig It in your favourite podcast app and give it a listen and subscribe. So there's a trailer and first episode on the feed right now. As you know, I make Check Your Thread more or less on my own, but for Can I Dig It, I have a co-host. And it's gardening expert Pippa Chapman, which I met through Check Your Thread. You might remember her from episode 112 of Check Your Thread. And basically, I could not be more excited. Plus, if you have any gardening related questions for Pippa, you can head over to the Can I Dig It Patreon, which you can join for free. That's patreon.com/Can I Dig It podcast. Pippa answers all the questions in the community chat spaces, and we pick the particularly relevant ones to explore more deeply on the podcast. Again, you can join for absolutely nothing and still get all your questions answered from Pippa, or you can support us for a small amount, which will help us keep it going. I've put the links to both the new podcast and the Can I Dig It Patreon in the show notes. So if you enjoy this podcast and are at all interested in gardening, please do give it a listen and subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. Right. After that, a super quick sustainability win. So my big kid is starting secondary school in September, which I'm not okay about, but it's happening. And they've been attending a ton of transition days recently in their new school. Well, I'm sure you can guess that I plan to get every bit of the new school uniform second-hand, if at all possible. And last week we managed to get the most expensive bit, the blazer, second-hand, which not only saved the need for the production of new synthetic fibres, but it also saved us 44 quid. And it just needs a new button. No new patrons to thank this week, so instead I'm going to thank all the current and past patrons for helping me make this podcast. Without your support, it wouldn't appear in anyone's feeds at all. Right, so let's crack on with this episode. This one is a fun catch-up with one of your favourite repeat guests, Lise Bauer, who again is the creator and host of the Last Sewist Standing challenge. I genuinely believe that this challenge can help us be more sustainable in our approach to sewing, but this episode is also just a light-hearted chat, so please take it as such. Until next week, when I have a mega episode for you that includes 3 guests on a topic that is very close to my heart, take care of yourselves, take care of your loved ones, take care of those in the wider global community that need our support. Go and check out the new Can I Dig It podcast and enjoy that one and this one. Awesome. Okay, welcome back, Lisa, to Check Your Thread. Can you please tell us who you are, where you are, and what fills your days?
Hey, Zoe. I'm so happy to hang with you today. My name is Lisa. I am in Basel, Switzerland, and I am a serial crafter, mostly obsessed with sewing and knitting.
Awesome. Right, so you first appeared on the podcast back in episode 118, where we were talking about the challenge that you created called Last Sewist Standing. For those who perhaps are newer to the podcast or maybe aren't heavy Instagram users, can you please briefly tell us what the Last Sewist Standing challenge is, please?
Right. So the Last Sewist Standing is basically a no-buy challenge for fabric and other sewing supplies. And it's a challenge that starts on or around Valentine's Day of every year. So that's around 14th of February. And then it runs until the end of the year. You can participate by signing up to the yearly sign-up post. You then get a start number allocated, and most challengers choose a horse as a companion. And then you run as long as you want. Like either your goal is to go until the end of the year, or you just, have a personal goal of like, I'm going to stay in this race for 3 months. So yeah, that's basically what it is.
Awesome. And there's a couple of different levels, isn't there, that you can find yourself in?
Right. So traditionally, we all entered in the heavyweight category. In that category, you're not allowed to buy any sewing supplies whatsoever, no fabric, no elastic, no patterns, no nothing, except for thread and needles, because we want you to stay safe and keep sewing.
Yes.
Also some other rotary blades, things like that.
Yeah, if your scissors break, you can, get a new pair of scissors.
Exactly. And then pretty soon after that, we introduced the lightweight category. So I still like when people start in the heavyweight category, but this year we actually made it free. You could choose your starting category. The lightweight category, you're allowed to buy everything except for fabric. And fabric is here defined as the main fabric for your project. So you can buy elastic, you can buy embellishments, buttons, patterns, because most people just don't hoard those things in the same way we hoard fabric.
Yeah, and if you wanted to, maybe you're making a knit garment and you wanted some ribbing, you're allowed to buy that, aren't you? Or a lining, perhaps, if it allows you then to use the main piece of fabric that's in your stash.
Exactly. And because our definition, the main fabric for your project, is not further defined, we also, give people, the leeway and the freedom to do with this challenge what they want. For some, that may mean I can buy a contrast fabric for the ruffle for this dress. My main fabric is not the ruffle. Like, that's fine. Others may say, like, no, like that ruffle is like regular fashion fabric. That goes against the spirit of the challenge for me. But yeah, as long as the main project fabric is from your stash, you would be in the lightweight category. And then we also at some point introduced the independent category, and you can start in that category at any time. So after the official starting date, and you can join there and run with your own rules and your own goals, just because some people want to participate, but they maybe came late to the race or challenge, I should say. It's not actually a race. Or they want different goals. They want a little bit like, I don't know, we had Shams joining and saying one year that she will buy fabric to make, home deco stuff, like pillows, curtains, etc., because she was moving at the time. But she will not buy garment fabric. So those are like personal limitations you can set yourself there.
And I think also maybe people like they're going on a trip and they really wanted to buy a piece of fabric when they were on their trip. So you could be in the independent category and do that and then continue to no longer buy regular fabric for the rest of the challenge, couldn't you?
Exactly. Join with your own rules there.
Yeah.
Or very importantly also, if you fall off your horse, you can come back in with a fresh horse in the independent category. If you feel like you got it out, but you want to be back in, that allows people to still participate even after dropping out.
I love it. I love how inclusive that is. Awesome. So how many years has the challenge been going at this point?
Oh gosh, Zoe, I didn't come so well prepared today. I believe it's the 5th year. Could that be?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think this is actually the 5th year. And it grew over time,
Yeah.
The horses were not part of the whole thing from the start.
And now they're everything. So what's your horse called?
So this was Taylor Tracks, I believe, the 3rd or the 4th. And what about your horse, Zoe?
Me made nay.
Such a good name. Is it the same horse every year? Does he go
Same
to
year.
the farm at interim,
He
or what
was,
happens to your horse?
yeah, he was at the farm all of last year,
Hmm.
just munching on hay, getting his strength back.
Love it.
Yeah, yeah, having a little time out. So, is there anything different about the Lasso Standing Challenge in 2025?
The start day got pushed a little bit because I was on a sewing trip and busy. So instead of starting like traditionally on the 14th of February, we started at the end of February. Officially, March 1st was the starting date this year, but we called the 2 weeks there the warm up phase. And that was actually great. Everybody could sort of get their stuff together, like work out their goals, see if there was some like elastic they still wanted or something. I generally advise against buying things going into the challenge, but some people, needed that to just give themselves the confidence to go in.
Yeah.
And they may actually want to last all year. So if they're like, I don't want to drop into lightweight right away, I'm just going to get that elastic now, then that's the time for that. And so, yeah, we started on the 1st of March this year.
Is that something you think you'll carry on going forward, that kind of warm-up phase?
I do think people liked it. On the other hand, some people were confused by it. Started on the 14th of February. And then when we do the check-ins, like it's the 1 month check-in or whatever, they're like, wait, I've been running 1.5 months. I've been running almost 2 months, because by the time I do the check-in, it may be a little bit later. So it did also create a little bit confusion. But I do think for this challenge, so this year I'm definitely doing less engagement and moderation than in other years. And I've been apologizing for it, but actually everybody's totally fine with it, it seems. I think people know the challenge, and the horses are running and they're doing okay or struggling. But when they are struggling, they're reaching out. And so I think even that starting date, some of us have been running for this amount of dates, others a little bit longer. I think we're okay with that. So,
Absolutely. Everyone's an adult. They can take control of their own thing.
Exactly.
Awesome. So I'm very happy to be back again. I participated in 2023. I had a year off last year. Didn't go crazy. Did buy a few bits of fabric that I wanted for specific projects. Most of it's been used. A couple of bits haven't yet. And I'm back, and I'm really very excited, and we will talk about how mine's going shortly. So, did you have any fabric purchasing in the off season between the end of the 2024 challenge and the start of this one?
Well, first of all, I love your whole, process of challenge, then the interim year, and you being back. I cannot wait to get into that. But yes, back to my horse. He did not get a break between the challenges this year.
He's exhausted.
And this was the first time that I did not let him rest. I actually wanted to buy some things. I had a couple of things on my list that I wanted, which just didn't seem that interesting anymore at the time. And then I did go and look in a couple of online stores, and nothing was perfect. And I was like, no, actually, I'm good.
So, did you have any particular personal goals for your participation this year? So you said you didn't have a break. What was the plan going in, starting the 1st of March or the 14th of February, 2025?
Not a particular goal in that sense, like time-wise, that I need to make it till the end. I think last year I was more like, I need to make it to the end, because I had actually never made it to the end. The year before that, I dropped out beginning of December. So I was so close.
That's when we spoke, wasn't it? It's like you got so close.
And so in 24, I was like, yeah, I want to make it till the end. There are no excuses. I have plenty of fabric to sew a lot of things. Like, yeah, I mean, in lightweight, obviously, but I want to make it to the end. This year, because I didn't take a break, I was like, no, whatever. I'm just going to see how long I go. I was even a little bit contemplating hosting, but not participating, because I felt a little bit like I was on a very high horse at that point. Maybe he had grown. I was like, I don't really need this anymore. I think I'm cured.
So on your high horse.
But yeah, on my high horse, I was like, I'm going to host, definitely. I'm going to see how long I'm in this year. But I did not have the goal to last until the end of the year, because I felt like if I need a fabric, I'll get it, and I will not fall into the trap of just like buy anymore.
So at time of recording, we are coming towards the end of June 2025. How's your challenge going, Lisa?
Oh man, Zoe. Okay, so when you contacted me to like talk about how the last Sewist Standing is going for you and how your style journey is going, I was thinking, let's do that. I don't really have any news from my front, so we can just focus on how things are going for you.
Yeah, this was only a couple of weeks ago, let's be clear.
Yes. In the meantime, several things have happened. So, to backtrack, I don't need any fabric. Let's just get that out there. But I had a trip to Milan coming up for Frocktails Milan.
Did you have an amazing time?
It was so good. If anyone ever wonders if they should go to any type of sewing or crafting event, just go. Just go. You will meet like-minded people, you will have fun, and you will not regret it. If you're alone and you don't have a buddy to go with, just go. That's my PSA for today.
Okay, noted.
So anyways, I knew that on this trip, we will be going to a fabric store because I traveled with 3 other sewing ladies and they are all not in the challenge and don't need to be, by the way. And they have been in the past. But I knew we were going to go to a fabric store. And I had never in my life actually been to a fabric store with other peers like sewists. Oh. Like I had been to a fabric store with my mom and like, but never with like other sewing friends.
Or enablers.
I knew this was going to be dangerous because I thrive on the social aspect of sewing. And I knew that being in a fabric store with other sewists was going to just be like such a good experience that I would want to take something home to commemorate that. And not necessarily because I needed the fabric, but because I wanted the full experience of buying fabric with friends and having that as a souvenir after the fact.
Right. So going into the trip, you were like, I may not come home empty-handed. Right. Okay. Have you been to Milan before?
I had been, but that was before my, like, what I call my intense sewing days. I've always been a sewist, but it wasn't always a priority. So,
right. So this was a new experience of being in that city also.
Definitely. And so going, preparing for this trip, we had the 3 months milestone for the last Sewist Standing. And it got me thinking. Because in the past, we had given out rewards at the milestone. This was, I think, in the first year. We had given out certain like green lights. It was a reward that you could buy a pattern or you could buy some fabric because you had made it a certain amount of time in the challenge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
It was like in the first year and we stopped it pretty soon because people were like, this seems dangerous.
It's like losing a load of pounds and then allowing yourself a cake.
Right. So yeah, maybe a little bit a dangerous, idea. And at this point, for the 3 months check-in, I put in the reward that we are now everyone who is still in the challenge, even though it's in heavyweight, everyone who is still in gets a reward that they may buy themselves one souvenir purchase this travel season.
Oh, I didn't see that.
It was hidden in the captions, and because people don't really read captions, I was not that afraid of people like calling me out and this being like a bad idea. I was like, oh, put it in there. People will see it or not see it.
But you saw it.
And I did think it also fulfilled, or I told myself, it fulfilled the need of the community as a whole, because people had been saying, like you said, some people are independent because they want to allow themselves souvenir purchases. And with the travel season coming up, several people have told me they are planning to retire their horse because they will be traveling and they want to make a souvenir purchase. So I was like, okay, this is not like self-serving at all. I'm giving this to everyone. This is a need the community has. Then I went to Milan.
So generous.
We went to the good fabric store, not like the regular fabric store. And it was an amazing experience. It was silks wall to wall on one floor. It was the other fabrics on the other floor, from the nicest linens to like, oh my God, amazing trouser and like shirting fabric, to all the embellished stuff that I don't really look at, but there was a lot of that too. It was amazing. My horse went insane. I can't say it in any other way. I mean, no, not insane. I think it was very good, deliberate, thought through purchase, but it wasn't just one fabric.
Right.
It was one purchase in one store, but it was not just one fabric. So my horse like limped out of the store, technically still in the challenge because this was my one allowed souvenir purchase.
That's really stretching it, but okay.
Yes, it was like hanging on life support as like people were pounding on the door being like, you are dead. That was the feeling I had walking out.
Go on then.
But yeah, I mean.
Hang on, hold it up.
Hang on, you can't quite see the volume of it. I want to make sure people see it's not that bad.
Gorgeous. Okay, yes. Oh, it looks very nice together.
It's a small, tidy pile. You can see that. So it's 2 meters, 2.80 meters, but I got 80 centimeters of silk for free because it was the end of the bolt, and 1 meter of lining fabric.
Okay.
Knowing that I like to buy the whole bolt when it's full, that this is
This is very restrained for you.
Right.
This isn't
but
like
seeing
7
that it's
meters.
silk, and you can imagine that on the budget front, it wasn't quite that lightweight.
Right. Yeah. So volume-wise, you've been quite restrained for you.
But I did feel, because it wasn't one length of fabric, it was several fabrics, that it wasn't vibing with with spirit of the challenge anymore for me.
Right.
So at that point, I realized this horse is actually dead. He thinks he's still alive, but actually he's dead. And that then spiraled into, I was inspired by fashion I saw in the windows in Milan, and I needed some broderie anglaise, and I went online, and it wouldn't be worth shipping 2 meters. So I went to my usual. So these are 6 meters.
Okay.
Of beautiful broderie anglaise, because I was like, it needs to be a cohort, probably long pants, but maybe short, maybe like, I'm just going to take 6 meters.
You could probably get a top and long trousers and shorts out of 6 meters.
And wouldn't that be cute? Then I have options. I'm going to California this summer. I mean, this is definitely not going to be done for that, but it is cool there right now. So I'm like, then I could switch from my long trousers to my short trousers or something.
Although you won't be taking it, but in theory.
I mean, I'll be going back again some other summer. But as you can say, I fell back into my bad ways.
Yes.
So 2 things I did wrong. Number 1, okay, 3. Number 1, I bought fabric, which I definitely don't need, because I would have other fabric to make a cute cohort, but I didn't have broderie anglaise. But I have linen and other stuff, but I wanted this. So that's number 1. I bought something that I clearly didn't need. Number 2, I went online after 10 p.m. and bought this.
Oh, that's the dangerous time for you.
I have zero restraint after 10 p.m. in bed, and it's like hot outside and I can't sleep. And
it's like, I shouldn't be allowed near crisps or peanuts after 10 p.m. because they'll just be gone.
And for me, I think my Apple Pay needs to be like disabled after 10 p.m. Like, is that a thing? Can we like ask for that? Because
Surely
good.
I mean, a setting.
I don't actually regret it. But that is like my, I just give in to temptation much more easily at that time of the day. So in one night, I bought this broderie, another one that's on its way and arriving today. And then I just wanted to go see, because this one, I was like, I'm already dead. And my local fabric store has had these dead stock fabrics in. And I knew about it. But I was like, I'm just going to go see now that I'm dead anyways. And cue this 50% linen rayon, 50% rayon fabric that has the weight for pants, but a softer drape. And this is actually a type of fabric that was missing in my stash. And I've been looking And it's just my grayish green blue.
Right. Hold it up.
And man, this one is like really walk of shame style.
So cute.
Because can you see me struggling a little bit? So this is like, it's a dead stock fabric, and I know it's true dead stock because I know the source. Exactly. 8 meters.
8 meters! No, Lisa, you don't need 8 meters.
I just bought more fabric than I sewed definitely this year and maybe even last year.
Oh, Lisa.
So I dropped hard.
8 meters? What?
Do you know what's the worst part? I don't regret it. It's the most beautiful dead stock fabric that will go out and will not end.
But why not 2 meters?
Because it's got to be everything, right? It's got to be a whole collection. I mean, look at it.
It's like you're starting a small collection. It's like that's the kind of quantity that people buy when they're making a small range of clothing.
And I think I am going to do that. Like, that is exactly my vision, actually.
But just for yourself.
Just for myself, yeah, obviously. I've noticed I do gravitate to the same fabrics, colors, etc. all the time. For a while, I was like pushing myself out of there. And then I was like, no, that's where I feel good. So my dream wardrobe is actually dressed like a crayon and, yeah, not with that much variety. I think most people would regret this purchase and be like, I did something really bad there. And by that time it was 11:30 p.m. and this is not okay. I don't feel like that. I feel like so invigorated by the possibilities now. And I am twirling the shorts for actually long pants and a top that I do think I will finish for the summer vacation in 2 weeks. Great. And I think part of the reason I'm going to go for it is because I have more fabric then. You know what I mean? Of this specific one.
So if it doesn't quite work out, you've got another chance to make something. Is that what you mean?
Exactly.
Right. Okay,
and then on the one hand, we have that there will always be more fabric, right? And that is like the mantra of the last Sewist Standing, which I basically took from you, Zoe, by the way. I don't know if you know that you're the origin of this quote. You once said this, there will always be more fabric. And I think we can objectively say there will always be more linen fabric in a color that we will like. Like, that is not the issue. But a good weight in a good color with good drape, I've been looking for that for a while. I tried to buy that in the store, in the good store in Italy, and it was just top weight. I couldn't find a good bottom weight.
It is hard to get a good bottom weight of linen.
And it's a drapey one because of so when I saw this, I was like, honestly, I'm proud of myself for not getting more. All right, so yeah, that horse is dead. It's super dead. Okay. And I'm sorry for everyone for letting them down in such a spectacular way. But I think we can contend. I'm not cured. I need some lining fabrics to go with my broderies, but after that, I'm getting back on the horse. Because the one thing it showed me is I'm not cured and can so easily fall back into my, old habits.
Right. Interesting.
And I do think, I can see something getting away from me. I mean, this could be maybe part of the thing again. So I thought giving myself permission to buy a souvenir fabric would keep me from dropping out. I thought it would be a separate thing. Buying fabric with friends in a physical store is not something I usually do. It's unrelated to the experience of me doing my online fabric shopping, which is the real danger, and where nobody sees how many meters I'm ordering, except for whoever is packaging it. And now you're hundreds and hundreds of listeners. But yeah, I don't have to be accountable in that sense. And I thought it was a complete different thing. And still, it was a slippery slope for me.
Interesting.
And I think my horse got so severely injured during that experience that it led to its downfall afterwards.
Right.
But I think if I just was like, okay, and that's how it is, back to my old ways, my horse is dead. I mean, of course I can do that. Nobody is like, as long as I'm within our family budget, like nobody, has to tell me what to do. But we need to think about what is it we actually want and want to achieve. And, short term, yes, the one with very little, that can't resist temptation may want to satisfy that urge. But long term, we probably don't want to build our stashes to like, extreme extents. So
Yeah.
yeah, just like refocusing again, reminding ourselves, what is it we actually want? Do we just want that, short-term gratification of that fabric or that project? Or do we actually want to work through our stashes? And so, yeah, definitely getting back on that horse.
Yeah, so after the lining fabric for the broidery, then back
The
in
lining
independent.
fabric, and I also need 4 centimeter elastic. I just made myself a list now of things that I actually need because I do feel like while the horse is down, I'm going to get the things I need anyways. Because once again, I also think once you're in, it's better to be in heavyweight. I'd be in independent heavyweight if I come back in and just be like, buy nothing. And then because even lightweight can be a slippery slope. If you're in the store looking for elastic, that can be already dangerous for some people. So I'm
Sure.
going to get the things I know I need for these projects, and then I'm getting back on the horse.
Okay, good.
So yeah, and then we'll see how
Okay.
well my second horse for the year is doing.
Yes, because also we've got another recording to do in the not too distant future, haven't we, about sewing patterns for body changes?
Right, that one definitely. I was already in lightweight when we started collecting that, but that definitely also. I don't think I've bought one yet from that list, but there's quite a few that I want.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
honestly, I think patterns is the best thing to buy, both from a budget perspective as well as a sustainability perspective,
Yeah. Yeah. In terms of resources. Yeah.
specifically PDF patterns.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I don't know, maybe I'm too lax there, but I don't feel bad about dropping into lightweight because of patterns. I just don't.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. Right. So, do you want to hear about how my challenge is going?
I was just going to ask, but I was like, I don't want to like impose the rhythm, but I'm dying to hear about your journey between the challenges. What made you come back to the challenge and how has it been going?
Okay, so I loved participating in 2023. As you know, I did a whole calendar year because I misunderstood in heavyweight and I loved it. I still have fabric. I still have, I want to say, it's less than 30 pieces of fabric plus a lot of scraps. And then I decided I didn't want to participate in 2024 because there were a few bits of fabric that I wanted to buy. I bought some light denim, which is the jeans that I'm wearing now. I bought
Love it.
some black denim, which I haven't used yet because the pattern I was going to use, I don't know that I want to use that now. So I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do with those. I think it's probably going to be jeans again. I bought some cable knit. It looks like it's hand knitted kind of fabric. And that's going to be a
Oh, sounds
cardigan.
lovely.
And I bought some ribbing to go with that to go around the bands. And I bought a couple of patterns, one of which I've used, one of which I haven't yet because I've kind of missed the season. I'm waiting for it to get cooler again before I make that.
So all in all, would you say less than my one fabric purchase now?
One.
Meter wise, how does that like tally up?
Meter-wise, I think I also bought some bits of fabric from the Destash for Palestine,
Nice.
and I've used all of those. I also got some free fabric from work to do some promotion projects. I don't know if they count or not.
I feel like it's a different tally. Interest wise, it's also like interesting to see the overall fabric coming in, but I do think like it's telling the way you purchase fabric compared also to mine. It sounds like you buy them specifically for a project. Maybe you'll change your mind later,
Yeah.
but you have like, let's say a pair of jeans in mind and you will, I'm just going to take a guess, buy the exact 2 meter 40
Yes.
that you need, accounting for shrinkage, that you have enough.
Yes,
That's just
yes.
my guess.
So those three bits of fabric, the light coloured denim, the black denim, and the knit, in total that was probably 5.5 meters. And then I did buy some lengths from the Destash for Palestine, all of which have been used. And I can't remember the meterage, but I made myself two tops and I made my daughter a kind of jumpsuit, play suit thing. And then there was some left over and I made her some cycling shorts as well. So that's all been used.
Love that. It sounds like the total amount may be equal or less to my one purchase now that made my horse, like the final online, purchases that
Yes,
made
yeah,
my horse die. And I do think that is interesting just to compare because these were your purchases over a whole year.
yeah.
What about your fabric use otherwise? In addition to the new fabrics, did you gravitate more towards the new fabrics or did you still reach for your stash fabrics?
I definitely have been working through my stash fabrics as well. Yes, I've been kind of more or less for a while now, been doing a kind of rotation between sewing something from a length of fabric, mending something, and then
Mhm.
sewing something using scraps. So more or
Love
less
it.
been using that kind of ratio. So yes, I have been using some lengths of fabric that have been in my stash for longer. I've also got a collection of garments that I've still got for refashioning or harvesting the fabric. I've done a bit of that recently. So yeah, I've been kind of focusing everywhere. Yeah.
I love that rotation carousel system. Keeps it fresh, but also make sure you don't forget the mending pile,
Yeah,
etc. Really
exactly.
love that. But that also means only your every third project can be from a new or stash fabric,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So it does slow that bit down, but I think that that's important. Otherwise, yeah, the mending does lay out and the
Hmm.
scraps do get overwhelming. But then I wanted to come back partly because it's so much fun and it's so fun to be part of something and part of a community, even if it's not, daily check-ins and stuff. It does feel really nice to be doing that. Oh yeah, and then there was the bathroom cupboard incident, wasn't there?
Right, right. Maybe people need a quick recap that
So I
didn't
was
hear
keeping all
about
my
that.
fabric stash in the airing cupboard in my bathroom, and I discovered that the shower has got a bit of a leak and there was some kind of fungus growing in the cupboard.
Dun dun
Yeah,
dun.
and it made things a little bit smelly. Thankfully, I think all the fabric was fine. There was a couple of bits that needed washing, but it did make me be really, really honest about what I've got. I had to bring everything out. It's like, it can't live in here anymore. There was a lot of stuff that I'd had for a long time, and some of it was too stinky. It wasn't so much lengths of fabric, it was more old garments, stuff that
Mm,
I'd had literally over a decade. And I was kind of thinking, like, this stinks. If I've not used it in a decade, I don't think I am going to use it. So and it was, none of it was stuff that if I'd washed it and then taken it to a charity shop, it would have any resale value. So
right.
unfortunately, there was a bunch of stuff that went to textiles recycling.
But at least you have that option and didn't go to landfill or something.
Yeah, well, hopefully. And then I've got this cupboard behind me, and I have to put my fabric in there now. So, and I've also got another bag in my bedroom. But the goal is to whittle down the stash so it does fit in the lowest shelf
Hmm.
there.
Just one shelf?
Just one shelf. That's the
Wow,
plan. It's
amazing.
not there yet, but
Yeah.
that's the plan.
How
Um,
far from it are you? How much
50.
do you have right now, do you think?
I think I've got about 25 lengths of fabric
Hmm.
uncut. Yeah, so we're getting there, and I just wanted
Nice.
I wanted to be part of it again, and I do need to physically reduce the volume of my fabric so that it fits in our space better. So that was like, let's
Nice.
do it again. Let's participate. So I misunderstood again. So I started on the 14th of February. But I had done I bought a couple of patterns, the jeans and stuff patterns in advance. So I had something to get cracking with, to use some of the pieces.
I just want to say these may not be so much misunderstandings as more miscommunication from challenge management. But yes, let's go with misunderstanding.
It's fine, it's fine. So, oh, and there has been one fabric purchase, but I checked with management and it was okay. So I got,
Can we just quickly, just so I don't get like, complaints later, Can we quickly recap why that purchase was
Yes, the
okay?
purchase happened because it was made with a voucher that my mum bought me at Christmas for Merchant and Mills. And I didn't solicit the voucher. It was given to me, and you have to use it within a calendar year. So I think she bought it in November, so I have to use it before November. So I checked with you, and it's okay. So
Totally
I
above board.
above board. So I bought. I've only got scraps now because I cut it out last night. But I don't know if you can see very well. But it's this gorgeous white. I think the base is like a cotton lawn, kind of soft white, and it's a dobby, so it's got these little flecks of kind of textured, almost like mini tassels, and
So
I've
good.
never seen it in this kind. And normally the dobby is like the texture's the same color as the background, but the dobby is, there's like a navy, a turquoise, a neon orange, and a neon yellow, and I just think it's super unusual and really pretty.
It's so pretty. I've seen it with a contrast
Have you?
color, but then it's one contrast color. And
Ah,
this one has like rows, like the dots in one rows are blue and then neon. And first of all, I think it's a lovely fabric, but I think it's also so you because the colors are, a little bit brighter. It's not just different blues or something, like it's a bit
yeah.
more fun, which like, I don't know. It's very you, and I think it's a really special fabric. I've
Oh,
seen it
thank you.
on a picture before when you made the purchase. I obviously wanted to see it, but seeing it now, sort of live, you moving the fabric, you can really see the crispness of the fabric, how thick or thin it is. It
It's
looks
going to feel amazing
lovely.
on as well. Like, I know what
And
I'm going to
what's the
make.
plan?
The plan is the Pattern Fantastique Valley pattern. So I'm going to make the top version. I have made that pattern twice before, and my first version I wore to literal death, to the point where it is now, I no longer have it because it was, I made it in a, I couldn't
You
wear it
wore
anymore.
it out.
I literally wore it out. I wore it continuously for 2 summers, basically. And then I've made another one in a much more autumn palette, and I made the sleeves a bit longer. So that's more like a spring and autumn version. So I
Hmm.
wanted another summer one, basically, because it feels so breezy. It looks great with shorts. Yeah, I just wanted to make another, basically. So I've cut that out last night. So that's not sitting around for ages. So that's cool.
Love it.
My fear is that it was just going to look like just one thing, though. So I'm
Ooh.
now in lightweight because I bought 2 meters of contrast rickrack.
Oh, that is going to be perfect.
I took the fabric into Fabric Godmother and it matches it really well. And I'm just going to use it to go around the edge of the the yoke section, which I think is just really going to pop really nicely.
Oh, that will be absolutely perfect. I think you'll have to post a picture of this in the
Well,
show notes.
I'm hoping it will be finished.
Well, at
Yeah.
least the fabric in the brick rack, because
Yes.
we talking about it. I know if I was listening to this, I would want to see it.
But then I did have a stylistic wobble. Like, I think that I have been thinking a little bit about maybe how my style is going to evolve as I get a little bit older. Like, I'm in my mid 40s now. Do tend to dress like fun art teacher, which I'm kind of fine with. But there's been a few times recently when I've been going out or I've had an event planned and I was like, I don't want to wear what I've got.
Hmm.
I want to look a little bit more for this particular event. I want to look a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more chic.
Hmm.
So I started a Pinterest board
Love
called
it.
French Girl Chic. I think also, like, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole as well, and I was looking at different makeup tutorials and hair, and I was just like, this, I just feel drawn to kind of adding a little bit more of a kind of French chic vibe, a little bit more monochrome, obviously some Breton stripes, obviously a little bit more sleek silhouette possibly. I'm growing my hair a little bit longer. I'm probably going to grow my
Hmm.
fringe a little bit longer. I want to experiment slightly with my makeup, and I just kept coming up with this kind of like outfit that I really wanted, like this kind of stripy top with like maybe like a black, like a bias cut kind of shift dress over
Ooh,
the top.
yes.
And I just had this vision of like what I wanted to wear, and I was like, oh, do I? And I don't have a pattern or fabric suitable. And I was a bit like, do I leave and make this? Do I leave the challenge and make this? But after some thoughts, I've decided no. I have some garments that are similar enough. I also have some lovely, lovely plans with the fabric that I do have that I don't want to abandon. And so I think that there is other ways for me to interpret that look with what I've already got. Also, explore more with the hair and the makeup, bring a
Right.
slight elevation to my look in that way.
I love your quirky art teacher, vibe.
That's still my daywear look, don't worry.
Exactly. So, but I completely understand this need to be like, and sometimes I need to present myself, and I don't need to, I want to present myself in a more sophisticated, polished way. And yeah, I felt the same. I think it was 2 or 3 years ago. My birthday wish list was a very well-known brand, a hair styling tool. I'm not gonna like say it here and make advertisement for them, make enough money. And I have never been into style and beauty and that kind of thing, but it came from the same urge to like, and sometimes I have a parent teacher conference or an event to go to. And even though maybe from the outside you're not going to see a big difference, I feel more polished. I feel more put together. I feel like I can glam up when I need to, within
Yeah.
certain limitations. But yeah, your wardrobe reflects the day to day. It never reflects those outings and like special occasions. And I think it can be hard to, not just with sewing, even if we were just buying our clothes, to like understand how much of that do we need in our wardrobe.
I kind of feel like I've got like weddings kind of sorted. I've got a jumpsuit, which is really fun and feels really comfortable, but looks sleek. And I've got a dress that looks really sleek and I love. So like those kind of events, I'm sorted. Like whatever I'm invited to, one or the other of those is suitable. And
Hmm.
I've got my day stuff, but it's like that in between, that one where it's just a slightly more special event. I don't have anything in
Hmm.
that I feel is suitable for that bit.
Hmm.
And that was the bit that I was kind of feeling I wanted to move in towards.
Or even going out with like some girlfriends. It doesn't even have to be
Exactly.
a case where you have to wear something like that. It may just be like, I would like to dress up a bit. And then, yeah, maybe you have your sundresses and the things you wear at work, which I assume your work is more colorful and casual in that sense.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, yeah, you don't want to roll up in your wedding attire either. And to sort of bridge
Exactly.
that, I do think there's a lot you can do with styling, jewelry, shoes, things like that. And like, tucking something in or tying it, etc., if you like that sort of thing. But I do also think that maybe, yeah, it will be fun to make some, if you realize there's some key pieces missing, like a oversized blazer where you can roll up the sleeves, but it's not quite so oversized and maybe not a clown print. You know what I mean? That it's like, I don't know, it can go from the one wardrobe vibe to the other. So what is your plan now? So you are not dropping out or you
Not
are? I'm
dropping
still
out.
not
No,
getting a clear read.
I'm staying in lightweight.
Okay, but how will you achieve your stylistic goals?
I realised that I actually do have a stripy t-shirt that I recently made out of harvesting fabric from a stripy dress that's been in my stash for many years. That was actually given to me by my boss about 6 years ago, and it never worked for me as a dress, so I've recently remade it into a t-shirt, and that is very
Love
similar to
it.
the kind of look. I have a couple of items that have a similar look, and if I focus on the hair and the makeup, I'm getting a similar vibe. However, I do think I might buy, and this is partly your fault, one pattern as well. Because spoiler alert, we are working on an episode about sewing for body changes. We're going back to that topic because that is such an important topic, and we've got loads more content to share. So we're really excited about that. But all the amazing research that has been done and also there's been developments in the last couple of years as
Right.
well, hasn't there? And one of the patterns that Shams shared with me that I've then shared with you to add to your database, I'm now thinking that might work well for a piece of fabric that I've got.
Remind me again, were these the big pants? What are they
Yes,
called?
they are. Hang on, I've got it written down somewhere. The brand is Sasha Starlight. They're on Instagram and on Etsy. And they've got a pair of palazzo pants. And they're very clever in that the front is quite flat. It's just got a couple of kind of pleats and into a waistband, but the back is gathered with kind of like a drawstring kind of effect. So you can completely adjust them. I mean, you could adjust them throughout the day, but you can kind of make them as tight or as loose as you need to, depending on the fluctuation that you naturally have. So I've got this 2 meters of like emerald colored viscose, which I was going to use. I was going to use the Nini culottes pattern by Named Patterns. You know that one? It's really simple culottes, elasticated waist.
Right.
However, I'm thinking maybe I might instead make the Sasha Starlight palazzo pants, but kind of cropped. I think I'll make them more culotte length, because it will just give me, it won't have that kind of gathered at the front, kind of slightly poofy belly look, which you kind of inevitably get with elasticated waist, you know?
I really like on this pattern that it has the pleats in the front and the back is so full that even though it's pants, it almost gives like a skirt-like appearance in the back. Because if it's something in between in the back with the elastic and it's gathered, but it's not super full, it can be like a weird diaper situation. I think it should go either way, like one way or the other, not too much, or then a ton. That it basically is a skirt from the back. And yeah, I just think this pattern is so fun. Just also the way you tie it and put it on. Probably not great for bathroom breaks, but other than that, I feel like it would be fun to sew. I think it would be fun to wear. And in a viscose, it's like being super swishy and drapey. I think it's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I've got a couple of blouses in right now that I think it would look gorgeous with as well. So I'm excited to I think it would stop a couple of those blouses that I've got being almost wardrobe orphans as well. So yeah. And also I'd like to make them before we have that conversation so I can then say what my findings of that pattern are, you know?
Right. So we both said it would be nice if we had made a pattern, and you mentioned you maybe have already made some of, the patterns that are in the list. So right now I'm behind. I need to get on it.
No rush. So that's that. So you're coming back as an independent but heavyweight pretty soon.
Right.
And I'm going to stay in lightweight, but hopefully having only made the purchase of rickrack and one sewing pattern, and we're going to go through to the end of the year.
I love it so much. And what a surprise twist, because only 2 weeks ago, I thought you will be telling me that your horse is dead, and I'll be telling you about how easy mine is running along. And now it's the exact opposite. So I love the journeys it's taking us on. And I think it also shows us, stay vigilant. You never know what's going to happen.
I love it. Thank you so much for this time. Thank you so much for creating this challenge, and I can't wait to speak to you again.
It was awesome as always. Bye, Zoe.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed this episode and are left feeling inspired. For more info about the podcast, including show notes for this and every episode, head to checkyourthread.com. I'd love to hear from you, so if you have any comments, questions or ideas for future episodes, please get in touch by emailing zoe@checkyourthread.com or find me on Instagram @checkyourthread. Massive thanks to Patrick Potter for production support, to Sylvia Seller for the awesome logo design, and to Simon at Palm Skin Productions for the music. This ad-free podcast would not be possible without listener support, so if you feel you are able, please consider signing up to the Check Your Thread Patreon. For the equivalent of buying me a coffee each month, you'll be making it possible to continue producing regular episodes. Links can be found in the show notes and on the website checkyourthread.com. I hope you'll listen again next week. Until then, take care. Bye!